Last year, I celebrated a decade in corporate, and I didn't immediately sit with what that really meant because 10 years in corporate isn't just about ambition or career growth. It's about navigation and experience. It's about learning how professional systems operate. It's about learning the rules of the road. It's about learning the unspoken rules of whatever workplace you're in. And I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like you did everything right to get in? You got the job, you got the education, you built the skills, you showed up prepared. And once you were actually there, you realized there was a whole other layer, a layer that had nothing to do with how capable you are, or how smart you are, or how hard you work. It's about access, relationships, connections, and learning how to navigate when you don't always look like the people who built the system. What I've learned over the past decade is that getting into corporate is often about knowledge and education, but succeeding is a whole other story. Succeeding within it is about much more than performance alone. It's about understanding the unspoken, the things that are not written down, the expectations that are implied and not explained. And once you understand how the system works, you can navigate better. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you can absolutely navigate better. Hey, my corporate curlies. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nkechi. I create content all for the working girls, okay? Natural hair, workwear, career. If you're not, welcome back. Let's chat. It's been a minute, okay? I celebrated a decade in corporate, which is wild. My corporate girlies, my working women, you already know. Working in professional spaces, it's a lot, okay? Like the emotional, mental endurance, the unfortunate code switching, the having to be excellent, okay? It's exhausting. So I have just been in a lot of reflection. In 2025, I took a lot of time to set the foundation for the future for my brand, which I am so excited about. I just can't wait for this year. But I wanted to talk about two things today. One, the things that I wish I would have known earlier. You just don't know what you don't know. And being a first-generation corporate person, a first-generation professional, like, it's real. And it's a real thing, and we need to talk about that more. So I wanted to talk about the 5 key things that I've taken away from my decade of corporate experience. And then the second thing that I want to talk about is how I've evolved my brand, thecorporatecurly.com, which I am so proud of. I'm so excited for this year. If you follow me on IG stories, I've talked a lot about my rebrand, my relaunch, and I put a lot of effort, time, money, a lot of everything into my brand over the past year. And I did that to set this year and the future up for success, which I'm so excited for. Really leaning into community, storytelling, sharing, creating safe spaces, so that we can lean on one another for information and for access and just community. Because honestly, don't believe everything the internet tells you. A 9-to-5 can be fulfilling, can be beneficial, and knowing where your paycheck is coming from every 2 weeks, there's a lot of benefits in that, okay? But I don't want to sugarcoat the fact that it also is very hard. It can be extremely hard. If you work in, honestly, any professional space, but if you work in Fortune 100, 50, 10 companies, whatever, like, it's hard because the pressure is high. The expectations are high, okay? So that's why I really took the time to evolve my brand from a personal blog to a hub, a editorial, a digital space for women of color, for Black professional women. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, my corporate curlies, my working women, my corporate baddies, let's get into it. Number 1, confidence is absolutely everything. Confidence will get you into places, into rooms that you may have not even expected. Because the thing that people have to realize about corporate is that most people actually don't know what they're doing. Most people, I won't say don't know what they're talking about, but a lot of times people don't know what they're doing, especially if you work in a company where people are being moved around a lot. That means that they're starting a whole new job, that they have experience to be able to make decisions, but they may not actually know what they're doing in that job. But I also think this is so critical too when you are new at a company, if you are younger in a corporate setting, and if you don't look like the people in the room, you have got to make sure that your confidence is front and center, because if people don't feel like you're confident, they're going to lack trust in you, and they're going to also feel as though they can't trust your ability to do the job. I have this book, Black Girl Affirmations or something like that. I'll put it here and I'll also link it down below. I love it. That got me through some tough days, okay? I love that book so much. And also on my newsletter, Corporate Clock In, I send it out on Mondays. I like to share affirmations and things that I think will just help set up the women who are subscribed up for success for the week. So subscribe there as well. That'll be linked below. Number 2, connections are absolutely critical to your experience, to your growth, to your ability to navigate, to like understanding the lay of the land. Connections are absolutely everything. And I know you've heard like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I always believed that, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But honestly, now that I work in these professional spaces full time, like your connections are absolutely everything. You have got to know who's who, and you have got to ensure that you have the right connections in place, whether you are entry level, mid level, or senior level. Like, connections matter regardless of where you're at your job. And I also feel like it's just good to have good rapport with people. Like, are you going to be best friends with everybody? Absolutely not, and that's not what I'm saying. But I do think that it's very important to be able to like establish positive relationships with people, because you just never know. Good to do as well. Okay, number 3, you absolutely need an advocate. Okay, you got to have an advocate. An advocate is so important if you want to promote, if you want to grow. Okay, people are not just getting these jobs like within a vacuum. People aren't just getting these new opportunities, experiences, promoting just because. Like, somebody has to sign off on something. And yes, a mentor is important. And I think each serves its purpose. A mentor serves as somebody who can help you navigate and work through problems or work through development or things like that. But an advocate is somebody who's going to vouch for you in rooms behind closed doors where decisions are being made. So ensure that you have the right person who has that social capital, which is people respect this person and their decisions, or they don't even need to respect. This person has the ability to make decisions and to make moves when it comes to your career or when it comes to influencing your career. So make sure that you have an advocate who's able to speak to your abilities and is able to vouch for you when you are not in the room. Number 4, know the lay of the land. If you are new at a company and you are navigating, you got to know how things work. You have to know how things operate. You have got to understand like who is who. You have to understand the cultural norms. Not saying you have to follow every single cultural norm. You have to know like just how things operate. And depending on like where you're at in your career, you also gotta have an understanding too of like, where do you want to influence? Where do you want to push? Like, where do you want to like challenge the status quo and know like, okay, I can have some impact here. Like, all of those things are so important to being able to like learn quickly, get a quick understanding and scan of the lay of the land, and then knowing, okay, within these 4 walls of this environment, of this culture, of this company, how am I going to navigate through it? Because girl, sometimes it's not so easy. And the last thing that I think is so important is that you have to own your career, okay? You have to have an idea of what you want to do, and I don't think it's ever too early to define and understand that. When you are taking a job, understand, how is this playing into my career? Understanding how is this playing into my next steps? How is this playing into like, what do I want to accomplish in this job and in my next job? And I understand some circumstances don't allow for you to be able to have that like luxury to be able to do that. Like, sometimes you just need a job to pay the bills, and that's important too. But I also feel like if, you know, we're going to be working for the next 15 to 30, 40 years, whatever that looks like, depending on your age, you want to ensure that like this job is playing into something that's going to be fulfilling for you, right? The employee-employer relationship has evolved so much just in the last 5 to 10 years, really. And so when you take this job on, like, you have to have a clear understanding of like, okay, how is this playing into my long-term goals? What do I want to do in the future? What do I want to do now? How do I want to develop? Be very clear about that, and then also be vocal about it too. Because if you leave it into the hands of somebody else is going to define that, and they may not define it based off what you want. So that's the 5 things that I believe I wish I would have known earlier. And sometimes those things don't even really resonate with you or don't matter as much because you're at a different point in your career. But those things were so critical to my growth and learning, and I feel like I've just had some like epiphanies and like aha moments over the past few years. So now let's get into thecorporatecurly.com. I want to show you guys a little bit of it. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, look at how gorgeous they look. I don't even know if you can see it very well. Bomb. Okay, directed by moi. Oh my gosh, this was the most fun that I've ever had, like the most fun project that I've had for Corporate Curly. Get the lighting right. This was so much fun putting this shoot together, directing it, coordinating, doing all the things. I absolutely love that so much. Okay, so I really wanted to be sure to have representation when it came to hair textures, skin tones. I wanted to have a model who has albinism. That's very important to me. I wanted to have models with different hair lengths, skin tones, all the things. I wanted to have an array of representation. So I talked about at my launch party that I will be working with different models to do hair shoots here in the Chicago area. So if you know of a curly girl in the Chicago area, let me know. We'll be doing that a few times throughout the year so that I can create more hair content. And I think I want to lean more on education and of course like doing the hairstyles, but I think what's going to be helpful, and let me know, I don't know, because I'm still testing this out, is like the model or the stylist actually explains like how she's styling the hair health and all those things. I think that would be helpful. But as far as thecorporatecurly.com, it was a personal blog before. It was just me like showing my hairstyles, my workwear, all the things. But I was thinking like, there is no editorial space that is focused on the experience of women of color, of Black women specifically. There's nothing out there. And so that's where I really wanted to take the leap of faith to create something like this. And is it a big feat? It is. But as my mother would said, they don't have two heads. Well, I mean, the big boys do. The big companies do. But I'm really excited for this year. I've just gotten so many responses from people. I've gotten so much encouragement. I always get a note or something where somebody's just like, keep going, just keep doing it. And it's just like so touching because it really makes me feel like you are doing something that is so needed for other women who look like you and I. So I'm so excited to like lean into this. I finally feel like the foundation is set. But I tell you the amount of hours, the amount of effort to just get it to where it's at. And I still feel like it's evolving. It's been a lot, girl. But we're gonna make sure that this is exactly what's needed for professional women all around the world. And so if there's ever anything that you need, if there's ever anything that you're like, Nkechi, like lean in here or do more of this or like do that better, I'm open to it because I'm here to serve your needs. I did ask on my newsletter, what are some things that people would like to focus on, prioritize this year? People said money, okay? Money. So I definitely think that I want to, okay. So I'm doing a first gen corporate clockout chat. It's not a podcast or anything like that, but I'll be editing actually some videos that I talked with like other professionals about their first generation experience. Maybe we'll do something focused on money. I love that idea, so I'll do that. I'll definitely have some articles up on the website. So that's thecorporatecurly.com. Please check it out. It's going to be linked down below. And then I also have, and maybe I'll just do like a screen share right here, my other brand or website, this is just being launched and kicked off, is thecorporateclockout.com. Essentially, I wanted it to be like a Reddit style for women of color, for Black women to talk about their experiences in their professional spaces. There are tabs for compensation, to talk about money, to talk about hair, to talk about workwear, career, all the things. And I wanted it to be based off of their demographics. So what generation in the workforce are they? How many years of experience, their degree, and what else did I have there? I believe that's it. So that's also linked down below. Create a profile, add in a topic. There's new topics every week to spark conversation. I've never done anything like this, but I do know that I feel like spaces like this are needed, because while Reddit is cool, there's a lot on Reddit. I don't feel like there's a centralized space for us to have these conversations. So, like I said, if there's anything that the corporate girls need, please leave it in the comment. Shoot me an email, send me a message. I love to connect. I just want to do what's best for the corporate curlies. So that is it. Leave a comment, subscribe, like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.